And Jesus replied, verily, verily, I tell you, everyone who sin is a slave to sin. Now, he's not talking about a trespass, because you're not a slave to your trespass. You do something, but you're a slave to your sin. Now, what happens is you have surrendered authority and your slave master. That means you owe something that you have to pay with something that is valuable to the person who you owe. And so that's what happens. So now I have to consistently satisfy whatever the sin situation is because I have surrendered myself. I created the debt, and I have to figure out how to pay that debt off. And so therefore you'll be a slave to them. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 says this: the weapons that we fight with are not the weapons of the world. That means, absent God, you can't win this fight. People always say, the weapons of our warfare are not of this world. Well, that means you don't know how to use them, because everything you use is of this world. All your manipulation, your lying, your stealing, all this kind of stuff, everything you fight with is from this world. So if you didn't go to God's school, you don't know what to do with the weapon. He says, on the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. So wait a minute. I thought I was fighting against them. Stronghold is in me. So what the weapons of our warfare does, it's not fighting against the world. It's fighting against me. God says, you want peace? Don't try to get peace in the world. You got to get rid of the stronghold. You're in a cycle. You got to get out of the cycle. Notice what he says. So how do you get this? How do you win this fight? He says, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. So what is a pretension? It is this. It is somebody who sets themselves up and present themselves as more important, more knowledgeable, more spiritual, more wealthy, or more capable than they are. It's interesting. So he says, what God says is, I'm trying to get you down to size. The stronghold is that you think you know more than God. You're relying on sources that don't come from him. You're thinking you can solve all the problems that you have by fixing everybody else in the world. He says, you don't understand that you're the one that's in captivity. And if you're not fixing you, forget about the world. Strongholds. And our problem is we're arguing with God. And we don't do it out loud. We just don't show up at the meeting. God says, I want you not forsake the assembly of yourself. Well, I don't think there's no problem. I go twice a month and I'll watch the others online. Well, you just had an argument. You just told God, I ain't doing that. You said it politely, but it's an argument. Well, God says, don't do this. You say, well, I don't think nothing wrong with doing this a little bit. I'm just going to commit one sin because it's not trespassing. The other person is consenting. You see what I'm saying? He says, but every time you think you know more than God, set yourself up as more important than him, more knowledgeable than him, more spiritual than him, more wealthy than him, and more capable than him. He says, every one of those, then anything that sets us up as sister God, whenever it comes that, then that's what I'm after. Then he says, and we take captive every thought. Your thinking is your issue. And I'm looking at all of these thoughts you have, and you have these thoughts in a pretentious way. You think you know. And the problem is, if you know you don't know, you can learn. But if you think you know, you're stuck in a stronghold. And I want to bring that stronghold down and take captive the thought that argues with God, and I'm going to make that thought obedient to Christ.